Thank you so much for being here. So today I'm joined by the lovely Monique Stevens. If there's anything you need to do to get comfy, feel free. I use this little amethyst.
Oh my God, my kid wants one of them so much. We've
Oh,
got so
that's
many
so cool.
geodes. So many geodes in my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I sometimes just use it, I like the sharpness of it, and then it's got a smooth
Yeah.
moment on the back. But whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, just go for it. Welcome to Conversations, the podcast where we talk about life, work, and the many ways that our brains are wired. I'm your host, Amy Milnes, otherwise known as the Wise Owl Coach. And I'm so glad that you're here joining us on this journey. This is a space for honest, relaxed conversations with all of my different guests where we talk about navigating life as a neurodivergent person or supporting someone who is. My intention is that through sharing these stories and through our shared experiences, that wherever you're tuning in from, that you feel a little more seen, a little more understood, and a little less alone. So Monique Stevens is the company secretary of Richmond Vanadium Technology, ASX RVT, where she plays a central role in governance, compliance, and commercial execution as the company advances one of the world's largest non-vanadium deposits in Queensland. How exciting!
Yeah.
With more than 20 years experience across mining, oil and gas, construction and finance, she brings sharp regulatory insight, financial discipline and a strong commercial lens to complex critical minerals projects. She's closely involved in RVT's downstream strategy, working with global partners to demonstrate the commercial viability of vanadium flow batteries. Oh, that's cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, especially fellow ADHDers, fellow neurodivergent people
Yeah.
that like to know things straight away will be Googling this, as I should have probably before we jumped on. So I knew a bit
I can
more
tell you
about
all about it.
it. For long duration energy storage, positioning the company within Australia's energy transition and critical minerals agenda. That is so cool. I know you had a really important meeting that you were prepping for the other day as well. Was it with the
Mhm.
minister?
Yeah, I've got lots of those next week, and I've just done the West Australian ministers. So we've done the expression of interest for Kalgoorlie vanadium flow battery. So
Wow.
I wrote that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snaps.
Woo.
Beyond, beyond the boardroom on your ADHD with
Yep.
OCPD. And I had to Google OCPD because I'd heard of OCD, but I
Yeah.
hadn't heard of OCPD. So we'll circle back on that in a minute if that's
Sure.
okay with you. And a newly single mum of two boys, aged 12 and 10. Beautiful boys they are. As the sole income earner, you're navigating the realities of neurodivergence, leadership, and solo parenting in real time, which is no small feat. And I don't need to be telling you that because you're living it. Building a high performance career while creating stability, structure, and security at home, which is so important. Your lived experience sits at the intersection of governance, grit, neurodivergence, and motherhood, challenging traditional narratives about what leadership looks like, which we love to challenge the way things have always been. That's what we do so well as neurodivergent people, and proving that different wiring can be a strategic advantage. Yeah, I want to cue some applause, like an applause singing here. I love that. So there's lots of things in this that I'd love to touch on, but firstly,
Sure.
I would like to talk about your version, your flavor, if you want to call it that, of
Mhm.
neurodivergence.
Sure.
So ADHD and OCPD.
Mhm.
Um, when did you say again that you received your diagnosis? How long ago was that?
So, got this trace back. So, as most adults who have children know, generally, we're not the first ones to be diagnosed. It's always a kid. And we're like, oh my gosh, like, so my youngest child, sorry, this is a big story. My youngest child, when he was about, I think he was 7 or 8 months old, I was in bed asleep and I heard noise and I went out and he had gotten out of his cot. He couldn't walk at this point. He crawled into the we've got a walk-in cupboard. I've got high ceilings, so he's got like 5 layers. He'd gotten to the very top, thrown down the hot wok, pushed it to an electrical outlet, and I caught him with the hot electrical outlet plugged in, turned on, putting it into a wok. That's probably the first time I went, right, my kid's definitely got ADHD.
Oh my
Um,
God.
so I have my mum could tell you some very similar stories about myself as a child. I was able to walk from 7 months, able to talk from 7 months. I was an incredibly capable child. but that, that sort of went into COVID and having to work from home in a mining company with two small children, one who was, I think he was 4, so he was studying pre-primary, and he was crawling up the walls and so on. So that sort of led on to him getting his diagnosis. Had no idea he was autistic until we were like to get into a pediatrician. Took about a year. Who diagnosed him? Went through that very long-winded process back then. To him he's diagnosed autistic level 2 and with ADHD, which then led on to my older son being diagnosed as, well, he's autistic level 3, ADHD and PDA, pathological demand avoidance, or whatever you want to call it. It's a changing world in that space. Which then led on to my ex-husband and myself going through the diagnosis ourselves. So I was diagnosed 2 years ago in May. Through that process, obviously, it's I'm self-diagnosed autistic, although it's incredibly prevalent. As soon as you start taking medication, it's incredibly obvious. And through that, and doing the review, my psychologist and my psychiatrist said, you have OCPD. And that was also a new term to me. And I always knew I had what I thought were control issues and perfectionism and neatness and anxiety associated with that. And that has come from, I can actually remember being about 8 years old and going, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to protect myself is to ensure that I don't get in trouble. And it is the equivalent. So I sort of have like what OCD is in its traditional sense, that the compulsion to always high achieve and the drive to not get in trouble or fly under the radar is what is OCPD. And it falls into that world of the personality suite of disorders that, over long periods of time become ingrained in you. And it fits into the matrix of, ADHD and autism. And I mean, I think it, to be honest, has been what drives me in my career and being a mum. I can see how that would be incredibly difficult for people to be around. I do have it a little bit more under control now, because I go through ebbs and flows of like what traditional OCD looks like, with incredible neatness and repetitive behaviour and those sorts of things. But the personality aspect of it is that it filters into my social life and everything else that is me. So that's sort of how that came about. That was quite an awareness of awakening for me, because I'm like, oh, that's why I do those things. So
Not just me, it's an actual thing. Like, there's so many people that are like this.
Yeah, the constant need to apologize for anything and just, putting everybody else first and just making sure that, that, I fly under the radar enough that if I make a mistake, then it's going to be okay. But I would never make a mistake, because I thought that far into the future that I work backwards so much, which has a lot of brain power. It's very fatiguing. But it's a lot better since I've been medicated, I think. Obviously been through a lot in the last couple of years since I was diagnosed. So yeah, that's what the OCD part of me translates into a personality aspect with me.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of that as well. And I so resonate with what you've shared around the self-diagnosed autistic traits, because well, not autistic traits, but the autistic side, because my diagnosis, which was 3 years ago this year, or the end of this year. So in my assessment, it actually came through with autistic features, I think they called it, OCD and dyscalculia. So there was all of those things kind of at play that came through, the predominant one being ADHD. And similar to yourself, I've definitely noticed since being medicated for ADHD, it's almost like, and this is such a common experience as well, isn't it? Are you in lots of forums and communities and stuff and seeing other people's experiences with this?
Yeah, and mostly because when you've got kids and you see it, you're just like, wow. Like, it's night and day. It's absolutely night and day when you see a child be medicated and you're like, oh wow, especially when they go, I hate using the numbers, but specifically my oldest son being ASD3, you can really see the autism really shine through. It's great.
Yeah, because it's almost like it suppresses shiny thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then all the side of things start to,
yeah,
the autism side's like, oh,
yeah.
cool. Okay, now what do I do? Because I don't have a busy bee over there keeping me busy and distracted.
Yeah, and also learned behaviours, all those terrible learned behaviours are generally ADHD based because that's what I mean, I suppose, with the protectionism, because you have to, especially as a child, you have to protect yourself from the world. And because you don't know what's going on, no one tells you back then. Our parents didn't know, they were
No.
informed, and it was a boy thing back then.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and it is very prevalent in females because, we do hide under that guise of the female banner, and we can hide it a lot better because we're taught to.
Yeah, that's so true. And I was watching a YouTube episode yesterday where the psychiatrist that was on there said, I think he's assessed about 15,000 patients at this point.
Mhm.
He's in the UK. And he was saying how women are taught from such a young age, especially our generation and our era where, like you said, it was a boy thing. It wasn't sort of something that was well known. So we're taught not to behave. It's not okay to behave in that way. And so the
Seen and
masking,
not heard.
yeah, well, it just happens from such a young age. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
these
that's what I was
stereotypes of being
like.
female. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's
And,
fine. You're not allowed to be rambunctious and crazy, and it's shush, don't do that. You're going to
yeah.
embarrass me. Don't do this. Or don't do that. You're going to embarrass yourself. Like, just be quiet. You're not allowed to stand up on your high horse because boy did I stand up on my high horse a lot in school. And and I think that's the really big thing about my autistic nature is that I will stand up for the what I believe in to the nth degree, and I've thrown myself under the bus quite a lot of my life. But I remember when I was in year 3 or 4, I refused to run the running race because you know how they make it mandatory. You've got to swim 50 meters or you've got to run the 100 meters. Well, I said, no, I'm not doing that. And yeah, I very much feel like I was. Yeah.
But I think as well, the justice piece obviously is a really strong one with the autism community. And really, I don't want to make this a political conversation because hell no. But
Go for it.
world needs people like us that are going to stand up for what's right and are going to speak our mind and are going to say, hang on a sec, that's not okay.
Mhm.
Without getting political, the world actually needs neurodivergent people. And
Yeah. We're a
yeah,
social conscious of the world.
yeah,
We
exactly,
really are.
exactly. And so you mentioned your autistic trait. How would you describe them? What word did you use?
I am, what's it called? Like the self, like I just consider myself autistic. So I don't consider them traits. I just am.
You are, yeah,
Whereas I
yeah.
consider my ADHD to be my ADHD traits because autism is who I am.
Okay.
I can't remember what that's called. It's like people first, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
But
that's different because
yeah,
there's lots of people preferring
it's
different
identity
things.
first.
Yeah, identity first.
Identity
Yeah,
first.
so
Yes.
autistic with ADHD traits, that's how you describe
Yeah.
yourself.
That's how put myself. Yeah. But it's okay. We don't need to be all like weird about
I
political correctness
know.
sometimes.
Some people
Yeah.
get quite sensitive and everyone's different. I think that's one of the things that I've noticed a lot of people on
Yeah.
LinkedIn are trying to correct people and getting quite into that. And I
Yeah.
get it, like if it's coming from a disrespectful
Calm
place.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's the same as when they did the LGBTIQ stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I don't know how to ask this question because I don't want to offend you, but I don't want to not be informed because I don't want to, offend you. And it's really difficult to navigate that. And I remember, like, 'cause I started up an ND group at UMOT before I left, and I was like, calm down, people. We don't need to make it that bad. Like, don't get all carried away with that kind of crap. It's silly. It's pointless.
As long as
Superfluous.
people
It negates the issue.
Yeah, it does, and it takes away from I think it
The
takes away from
education
people
piece.
well, exactly, people actually wanting to engage.
Yeah.
Whereas if they feel comfortable to just have a convo, whether they get it right or not,
Mhm.
and I'm probably gonna get this wrong or I'm not gonna say this right, that's okay. Like,
Yeah,
I'm similar to
yeah.
yourself. I'd rather people just be open, have a conversation, be curious, ask me any questions that
The
they
good
want.
thing about being ND, right, is we're completely tolerant. We get
Yeah.
it. We've been on the other side of that our whole lives. So we are a lot more forgiving.
Yeah, definitely. And with so you mentioned the boys going down the diagnosis path. How did
Mhm.
it feel when I know you had we mentioned sort of off air before we started recording
Mm.
this, there was a lot going on when you received your diagnosis.
Yeah.
When you were actually told, like when you received that official diagnosis, how did it feel for you?
Don't know, that was taken away from me. Um, because someone else's issues were more important than mine. So I didn't really get time to. I mean, it's kind of like, that's like I already knew. But I needed, help and focus in the moment to, just medicate me. I said to get this done because I'm like that with everything, grief, everything. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's move on. I know that now. And so it wasn't like a big, like, wow, moment for me. I think I already knew, and it was more just putting a name to it and getting, because I'd seen how beneficial medication had been to my children. And I was like, I need that. I need some help with that because I can't, it was mostly to do with work. Like I couldn't concentrate, I couldn't focus. And I think, a lot of my history was being an executive assistant or working in lower end roles of my career because I could never go higher because it wasn't that I didn't have the confidence, because boy did I have a lot of confidence, in fact too much. And it was that I was nervous that I'd rain on my own parade. And it was a bit of a joke at work that I was always a bee's deep away from the complaint. And I was too outspoken and I couldn't manage what I know in my heart was incredible intelligence and the smarts and the ability to get things done. I couldn't manage it without medication. And since and that was the important part about being diagnosed to me, was the immediate change I felt in who I became as a career mum versus who I was prior to that, because I was lucky to have great leaders in all of my workplaces who believed in me and encouraged me and gave me a lot more autonomy to work well. And it's sort of now in the last, since I've been diagnosed, that I've sort of escalated up the career path of where I want to be. And that's the trajectory that I'm now on, is that I can deliver on what I think. And that is what was so crucial about being diagnosed with me is is the just formation of my mind and being able to sort of think and dialogue, not like I was before.
That's such I love that you've described it like that because it's such a common experience, and I was just nodding along because I've definitely felt the same thing in myself. Like
Mm.
previously it was like, cool, ideas, 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 ideas,
Yeah,
ideas,
yeah, yeah.
ideas, like I
Right.
can
Ooh.
but it's actually bring all those ideas to the forefront. What's going to
Yeah.
work? What's not? Organize it, sort it out, and
Mhm.
logically, next step, what do I need to do? And then the autism just goes, hell yeah,
Yeah.
systems, processes,
Yeah.
get it done.
100%, 'cause I'm a full pattern recognizer. I'm like, "Okay, let's draw this up." And it goes so wide, and I can't work out how like, get it done. And I can execute really well. Luckily, I've got the OCPD part of me, which is incredibly strong. But being able to formalize that in a workspace and as a mum without the negativity that comes with the way it presents, to be, that guess that's what's quite traumatic about it as well. It really gets you down. The trauma associated with, not being able to control yourself is really hard. And then having these compulsions to just do it. You're just all over the place. But, and as I say to my younger son, you have got the biggest heart and I know you want to help, and it's not always going to be you're able to execute that as well as you would like. And it's heartbreaking. It really is, not being able to
Mm.
deliver on what you want to achieve. And that's the trauma cycle that occurs. And I think, being able to execute my visions now that I have been diagnosed, I am medicated, and I know myself a lot better, like all the crazy of my life. It's not giving it a name or an identity or anything. It's an understanding and an awareness, because you are informed about why you are the way you are, and you know who you are, and you accept that. And that takes a bit of time. And I've gone through sort of a couple of really big defining moments in my life where I'm like, oh, that's that. And you can sort of pinpoint it. Kind of happens to me every 10 years. But that was sort of like what that catalyst was for me in being diagnosed and my own self-awareness and acceptance now as to who I
Yeah.
am and who I want to be as a role model to my children and who I want to be as a role model in society.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
You're very
actually,
articulate today.
I love it. I love it. It's awesome. I
Thank
love
you.
being the flow. It's so good. The last podcast that I haven't actually finished editing and uploaded yet because life. We talked about that guest said she doesn't like the word acceptance because it's like it's final and there's no room for growth after that. So
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
spitballing around that, and I said, because I said I still struggle sometimes. And I saw someone posted a meme in an ADHD group the other day, and I was like, well, that kind of makes sense, because this lady said in the meme, when I'm medicated, I think I don't have ADHD, and then when I stop taking the medication, I remember that I am. And it's so
Yeah.
true.
In the evening.
Yeah, I actually go into a little bit of internalized ableism sometimes
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
I don't actually need this. I don't actually have this. There's nothing wrong with me, which is such like a low
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. What's wrong with me?
What's
Yeah.
wrong with
That
me? There's
was,
something wrong
yeah.
with me. I'm broken.
Yeah.
All of that old language,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
wrong with me, that's programmed and imprinted from such a young age. And so
Mhm.
Isabeau and I were talking about what's another word, and she likes the word integrated, and it's integrating the parts of ourselves that have always been there,
Yeah.
and becoming like integrating them into our daily and going, cool, understanding them. I'm working with them.
Yeah.
I'm finding
Yeah.
ways to integrate who I am as a person into what I do,
Mhm.
and make it work,
Yeah.
which is really
Yeah.
good.
Make the best parts that work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not like control, like, because I think all of we both been through a fair bit of shit in our lives,
Yeah,
but
we have.
it's what makes you. Like, who, like, whatever doesn't break you makes you stronger. Well, I'm pretty strong. So I just think, it's using all of those skills that to their advantage in a way. And that's the, self collaboration that you have. And that's why I say awareness, because awareness to me is something that never stops. And knowledge and growth and awareness are the evolution of who we are as a human being. And that is really important. And you will live and grow because, there's life stuff that happens along the way. And if you don't look at it and be objective and learn and grow from it, then you stall, and that's not good for no
No, and it's a shitty feeling when you're stuck in
one.
that space of stalling or not living to your potential, which is what I heard in what you were
Mhm.
sharing before, when you
Yeah.
were not pursuing those higher level up roles for such a long time, even though the capability was there. It's like
Mm.
this barrier that almost stops you of, and I don't know if it was the same for you. I have experienced, and a lot of people that I've spoken with have experienced that self-doubt that comes in because you've got that
I
message.
had somebody actively telling me that when people do that, when people gaslight you or when they challenge you and you are objective enough to self-assess and go, okay, let's look at this critically. And this is the beautiful part about being autistic. You can look at it and go, okay, let's really rationalize this. Is this real? And you can go through
Mm.
and use your repertoire of knowledge over your period of life, and you can go and resource and you can go and look at things and you can challenge yourself. If you can do that and you come out the other side and you're like, cool, you've said that, but I know in my heart of hearts I'm a good human being and that I'm doing the right thing for me with the information I have right now, and that's a choice I make. That self awareness really does climb. And as shitty as the last couple of years might have been for me, and probably a lot longer, having that immediate challenge in my house probably did help me really come out on top because I'm a hell of a lot stronger for it. And it did coincide with the day I was diagnosed. So, having that, it's kind of like someone constantly ear going, like just actually saying all the stuff that you're thinking, which kind of helped, you know? If you can push through that and push through anything.
Yeah, definitely. And I just also want to say that it's also something that's so common and relevant. I can't remember the stats or the numbers, but I know that people within the neurodivergent community are at higher risk of being in relationships where the other person does take advantage of them or manipulate them or are kind of perpetrating violence.
Because we see everything, we take everything on face value.
Face value.
And that's the best thing about me is, I take not just anything on face value, I see everything people say as genuine and for the right reasons. It's a naivety, I think, that I have, which I now understand, which is a bit sad. And it's an innocence that comes with it. I think, but I actually think that's probably the best part about me is that I do genuinely believe the good in people. I can't understand how people can be bad. I don't get it. And that was actually what plagued me that whole time. I was just like, how could someone be mean? Why would someone be mean? I don't understand. And that's, my inner child.
I've actually just realized something about myself that I didn't realize was a common experience as you've been talking. Is the
people that could wanting to
honestly, that I've always thought this was one of my kind of Amyisms. But I'm just realizing now, because I've always been told by a lot of people, you just always want to see the good in people, and that's why you get taken advantage of. Da, 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 da. And now I'm just realizing as you're talking that that's probably highly likely to be part of the autistic side.
It's also the same it's the same reason that we will fight for what's right. It's the same, they coincide. It's because we're like, no, if someone's got a genuine reason to be doing what they're doing, I will help fight that. And you back that person like wholeheartedly. And that's that strive for justice, is because if we know in our heart that there's a genuine reason to fight for what's right, we will fight it. And that is what makes us incredibly powerful. You're going back to what we were saying at the start of the conversation about, we as autists need to know that, our place is not just about fighting for the good, but also challenging the bad. And that is, I think, something that comes with maturity and awareness and knowing. Because I do that now. I will stand on my bloody soapbox and fight for what I know is the right thing. And I have done. And, that I think you've really got to know in your heart, and it hasn't just been in your, obviously in my home life, but in my career life more recently, when people challenge you and try and throw you down, to know that you're doing the right thing and that's okay. And I'm really very proud of who I am today with that.
I'm proud of you too, Mon.
Yes.
Yeah. It takes a lot of courage, honestly. I don't know whether the younger version of me, the 20-something-year-old version of me that finally got the courage to move out of that type of a relationship as well. She was still learning a lot, and she was still self-medicating, and she was still going through lots of her own self-discovery journey and had no idea about this world. Oh, I think I've always known. You said before, we do know we're very, the high IQ plus the high EQ, it allows you to tap into a different frequency. I've always known there's something, and I think
there's always something. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just put your finger on what it is. And
plus we all hang out together because we all attract each other without even knowing. It's like, oh, you're like me. Hey, friend.
I was literally about you it was on the tip of my tongue as you said it. I love that we've already synced up with this, because we do naturally gravitate towards people that are at that same frequency and that can keep up with the pace of the conversation and of where our brains go. So it makes sense that so many people, and I'm sure there's probably a lot more that haven't gone down that path yet. A lot of people that we hung out with back in that day are probably very neurodivergent as well. Most of them, if you're old. And so in terms of support, because something that's come through in what you've shared, the intro that I did, and even when we've been talking previously, around having to just effing do it. Like, you've just had to power on, you've had to keep going with the boys, keep going with, work and with home life and with trying to keep it all together. What does support look like for you?
Look, I would like to say that, I have it, but it isn't that I don't. It's because being OCPD, I actively will reject it. Not because I think I can do it all myself, but because I have taught myself over time not to rely on anybody but myself. And that is incredibly annoying to a lot of people, but I've never relied on anybody. The reason I chose to work full time my entire life from when I was 16, I've been working full time all the way through my TE and everything, is because been I've never wanted to put myself in a situation where I had to rely on anybody. And that is the control aspect of what OCPD is. And so as far as support goes, my children are incredibly supportive. I've always used language and tools to ensure that they were kind. So my kids, who also been through a hell of a lot, they are both incredibly mature and supportive and emotionally intelligent. So they're around me most. So they're incredibly supportive and loving. I love that. My family have been massively important. Obviously, I was in a situation where I had to block a lot of people in my life to keep them safe, and it wasn't their choice. They didn't know. No one knew what I was doing. It's only sort of now that that's sort of become a bit more apparent that I had to push people over some of them. And it's now, my mum and my family, I'm sort of back in the mix. My dad,
Oh, man.
my dad was my person. When he died, that was hard. But I don't grieve. I can push it away. And that he was the one person who gave me space and time to never judge me and just need patience. Yeah, he knew when to bite in, and he knew how to give me the space, to grow and to be who I am. And he'd check in, you sure that's the right thing to do, Mom? But he never judged me. He was huge support. I was him the same year I was diagnosed. So, yeah, so that was a lot. In a 12-month period, go through family domestic violence, and then losing my dad, losing my best friend, and then having to take out the FBRO. Just after being diagnosed with it. I changed jobs. I'm in the job that I have now. And so a fair bit happened in a 12-month period. And it was tough, but nowhere near through it. But I continue to grow and I continue to learn. And I have a beautiful partner now. Who I love very much. She's also been through a hell of a lot of trauma himself, and we've learned a lot together. And he has this really cool thing. He's like a bit sad around Christmas time, and it's like, Mum, this is an opportunity to reframe. And I'm like, that's really cool. And he helps me in a lot. And he'll circle back to that. He's like, you can do this. This was just a moment in time, and let's reframe this. So let's look at it a different way. I can hear the kid is cooking. He's out there cooking.
Do you need to check on them?
You get this.
Do you need to check on them or anything?
I can normally ascertain what he's doing that's naughty based on the clicks and bangs of the kitchen. He's making pancakes. Yeah. He's like, the pancakes are okay because he knows that I can't come out. This is what he does to me. The really ADHD one.
While she's busy, I shall create.
The stuff that kid does, and he gets into the shed, so I normally have to baby-proof my house and my 10-year-old, and I have to lock all the doors and stuff because he's so incredibly dangerous. He's a firebug. What's he doing? Yeah, he's like.
Do you want to go check on him? Oh, you're good.
Nah, he's right. He's good. That's what I mean. I have badly-proofed my house. It's so incredibly dangerous.
What do your boys teach you about yourself?
Oh gosh, they're like little mirrors. They have taught me a lot about patience and compassion. Most of them, I went off my antidepressants recently, and I told them, I'm like, do you remember what I was like before? They're like, you used to yell, Mum. You used to scream and scream and scream. Like I was so dysregulated that I just was so anxious, I would just scream. And since being off it, they're like, "Hey, mum, you're pretty good off those meds, eh?" And I'm like, "Thanks, boys." But they're very honest, and I love that about them. And they know that they can trust me. And Rose, that mum, can you not do that thing because I don't like it when you do this thing. Can you please stop? And I love that my little one can be that honest with me because I thought I could, and I would put up with stuff like, I hate hugging people, hate it. I just like I love people, but I hate hugging them and doing that whole like goodbye thing. I'm just like catcher, I'm out. I don't like it, and it's those social cues. I'm like I hate them, and I love that my kids don't do it, and they've taught me that I don't have to put up with it. I don't have to put up with being uncomfortable. And they're like, "No, I need this accommodation." I love that I've empowered them to do that. And that is the beautiful bouncy offy thing that we do. It's like, and we advocate for one another. It's like, "Mum, you don't have to do that." Nice. I understand that you're doing this because the best one said, that's the two-way street of the learning piece. And they really reflected on me, who I am and my strength, and they're empowering, and we regulate together. It's great.
That's
It's like, come on, mum,
wonderful.
let's all stop and just do some breathing and grounding.
I
Guys.
love it. I love it. But the beauty of all of this as well, with our generation and even older generations now, I'm seeing more and more as well, but going through this, experience of finding out about neurodivergence and going down the rabbit holes of what does this look like? What does this mean for me? Rewriting the rule books for ourselves and for our families. And you're actually changing as well, probably generational stuff that's gone on and making it such a different experience for your kids, which is a beautiful thing to be able to do. And, give them what you weren't given because our parents didn't know. They just didn't know about it back then. So it's a beautiful thing as well. Very quickly, because I'm mindful of time and mindful that the kids are in the kitchen. How do you see you talked about when we first started talking, and I feel like we've segued a few times then, classic ADHD.
Yeah.
With your neurodivergence, how do you see that showing up in your leadership style?
That's a big question. So I work very collaboratively, and that's something that I've learned in, the way that I'm with the kids. It's lining up the psych and the pediatrician and the school and the teachers, the leadership at their school, myself, because we work collaboratively. And I think as a leader, that's incredibly important to me in working together to achieve the best outcome. So as a leader, and that sort of, I suppose this is kind of a bit of a growing world for me at the moment, given the role that I had and the amount of hats I wear in the company I work for, is believing in people and allowing them enough flexibility to, I had one boss say, "I'll give you enough rope, but never enough to hang yourself."
Oh,
And
wow.
that's sort of,
Powerful.
it's it's how I parent. I didn't realize. I'm not like, okay, let's see where this goes. I'm not going to intervene because I think schoolyard is schoolyard, but I'll give you the skills to facilitate your best self. But it's trust at the end of the day. The way I manage everything as a leader is trust. It's, I'll trust you and I will empower you and I will facilitate everything for anyone to help them grow and give them that time if I can see that they're going to put in the effort as well. And even if they're not, with kids, like the big ones, he's lazy, but I love him to death. So, I think as a leader, it's working collaboratively with people. I mean, I used to manage McDonald's, so I used to do the 3 Cs: communication, coordination, and cooperation. And that's as a leader, the 3 Cs, it's the way to get things done. And never rain on someone's parade when they've got a great idea. Because my boss recently said to me, "You have been an executive assistant who has sat in wings and been privy to so many things and never had a voice, that I want to give you that voice because I believe in you." And it was so important to be able So my boss is Brendan Grills. He's the leader of the National Party for a long while. Yeah. He's, as far as mining and politics goes, he's like royalty. He's a ripper guy. I have a lot of faith in him. He has a lot of faith in me. They're going to make things happen in this world, big changes. And it's really wonderful that I've had such great leaders to learn from. And, not just leaders at work, but leaders in my life, with my mum and my dad in varying capacities, and the people who I've surrounded myself with. And yeah, so I think as a leader, I've learned a lot from a lot of people, and always going to promote that. I know I'm autistic and I pattern recognize, and I call that my Saturday soapbox, where I tell people, I told ya. Remember I told you this a year ago?
Yeah, honestly, I saw this like how long ago? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's such a funny thing, isn't it? Is the things that we spot that take others so long to spot, if they ever do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have a really cool, fun thing that I do at the end of the podcast called Tangent Time. And this is where this is where I ask you some rapid fire questions and you just answer whatever comes up. You ready?
Yes.
Awesome. So the first one is you come home and there are dishes in the sink. What do you do?
Sigh loudly. I hate that. It's like, it's not where things are the way I left them. I hate it. That OCPD part of me, ooh, it's strong. It's strong. And then I crack the shit, so like three things around. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Cute. Inside or outside?
Outside. Oh, yeah. No, Mike hates it. He's just like, can we go inside? No, I don't like being inside. I am an outside person and I would live out there if I could.
Awesome. Noisy or quiet?
Depends. Because I have to see the fan. I have to have really loud music to calm down. And I don't like quiet. Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely noisy. Yeah. Yeah. Noisy.
Noisy.
Yeah.
I like the calibration that you went through to get to that.
Really thinking out loud there.
If you were a snack, what would you be?
Snack pack.
A what?
That's full echolalia going on there. Snack pack. If I was a snack, I don't know. I can't think of anything but snack pack now. Ooh.
Did you say snack pack?
Yeah, snack pack.
What's a snack pack?
Snack pack. Check your man then. With when they used to have those there was a video commercial with the guys with the meter snack packs. So kind of like stickers, but like they're like a yo-go and they're made out of Strasbourg or wherever it is. They're in the they used to have them in the section with the baked desserts and stuff.
I'm going to be looking at the snack pack after this to see what it is because I want to see.
My pregnancy craving. It was my pregnancy craving with snack packs with like after blood and orange juice because I had such low iron. Yeah, true story. It was blood. But it became strawberry snack packs.
There you go. And would it be the flavor strawberry? Would that be the flavor of the snack? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Fake strawberry flavor. I definitely a strawberry snack pack, and my boss can just stop it.
And then the last one is, what is currently living in your head rent-free?
Nothing. My head is so full at the moment. So full. One day I'll tell you all the things that are going on in my life at work, and you'll be like, okay, I'm traveling next week for work, so that's why my boss is ringing me.
So lots of things. So the head is very full. There's lots of tabs open.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So many. I have to write lists.
Thank you so much, Mon, honestly, for sharing so openly. We've gone to lots of different places in this conversation, which always seems to happen in these conversations. You've bared with me through some internet struggles. We've talked about all sorts of stuff. From everything we've talked about, just to close things out, is there anything you wish more people understood about women, leadership and neurodivergence that we haven't touched on today, or parenting or anything else?
Well, I've got a cool statement up in front of me that Nisha shared with me recently. It is, your intuition will speak to you in statements and your anxiety will speak to you in questions. And that I think was really important to me recently. And I'm like, oh, that looks a lot. So I thought that was really important to just be aware of.
That is so cool. I've never heard that before. What a powerful way to end this podcast.
I know,
I love
right?
it. Thank you so much. This has been so
You're
fun.
welcome. Thank
Internet
you for the
issues aside.
opportunity.
Oh, thank you for joining me. Thank you for saying yes. Thanks so much for tuning in. I trust that you got some value from this conversation today. If there was something in this conversation that you think would help someone else, please share it with them. Feel free to check out at the Wise Owl Coach. I'll also link below. Bye for now. It's just doing me.
It's fine. It's like everything in our lives.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
Like the dumpster
How are you?
fire one.
I'm fine.
The dumpster fire meme where it's like, this is fine, everything's fine, and everything's on fire.
Uh,